On Smooth 98.1 FM. It's gone 16 minutes past the hour of 8 o'clock already. It's, a Budapest kind of feeling inside the locker room this morning. But let's meet the princess, Tega Onojiafe, this morning as she talks us through all of the events of the weekend and more. Good morning, Tega.
Good morning. It's not a Budapest kind of morning. Crazy
Okay.
things happened in Budapest.
Okay.
What was the first thing that happened? Okay, so first of all, Noah Lies, 100 meters, amazing. But what was shocking for me was Fred Curley not even making the final. In fact, the way he started that race, I was like, because it's 100 meters. You can't start that slow and catch up. There's not enough. Um, yes, you say both needs to start fast. Yes, you say both needs to start fast, but he needs to start on time. They kind of left Curly behind. I think he was trying to avoid not beating the gun.
Yes.
And then he now paused in between when he said it. He was like, should I still go for it or should I still? And then he started going for it. So it was really bad. So Noah was the guy to beat, and he's now also going for the 200 meters. But the one that was shocking was the Netherlands. I don't know which village people were cooking stuff because first of all, Sifan Hassan, the way she fell, I kid you not, nobody touched her because at first I thought somebody touched her.
Yeah.
She's competing
Oh, God.
she's competing, and yes, she was going to win silver because she didn't have the legs
Yes.
to finish ahead of Gide. But
Yeah.
the legs didn't even tangle. It was like she hit an invisible stone and fell. Then Femke Ball, of all people in the world, falls in about the same spot. Again, nothing hit her. She didn't hit anybody. Her leg did not tangle. You know, there's how you run and you kick your leg.
Yeah.
Her legs did not tangle. Femke Ball gets to about the same spot for the Dutch. Again, they're going to come second because, the US is already catching up. This girl kicks an invisible stone and falls. And then Netherlands had the nerve to come and say, we are challenging. Challenging what? Who is the spirit that put it there? It was crazy.
Sega, it is enough to set up a commission of inquiry to see if if the track was properly tied or there wasn't a bump somewhere.
They were the only people falling there. They were the only people. Other people were winning there. They were the only country falling there. But yeah, after those initial wars, I think everybody now sat up and started running. So we'll talk about the World Athletics Championship today. We'll also talk about Chelsea.
Don't make this worse anything.
Same old result, just a different day. So please bring out all your banter, the hottest ones. We'll talk about Chelsea today and what happened to them with their 115 million pound signing. Jai, how can you sign that kind of man and they give you a penalty? So we'll talk about that and more on the locker room. But before we do that, tell us, Omatseye, how can we be a part of the locker room?
For free. 0809-444-0981 will be the numbers to expect the WhatsApp messages, and if we have the time, you can throw in one or two bands. Then 0809-444-0981, expecting those messages to come on board. Then also you can race down to YouTube. There are stuff that Tega does that it's only when you're on YouTube you get to see it. Tega starts. Okay, now you're talking about those who started slowly and then they finish up.
No, I never start slowly.
No,
I start softly. It's two different things. It's not slow, it's soft.
All right.
All right, so let's go to the headlines first.
All right, so you can be part of it by listening to these headlines coming across right now, because we hear Budapest 2023, Brume misses long jump podium finish as Djokovic survives toughest match to beat Alcaraz in Cincy, that's Cincinnati. Then we go over to Carmona. Olga Carmona hails unstoppable Spain after World Cup triumph. You can say that if you are the captain, and then you give your nation the goal that needs them to lift the trophy. Next, believe in the process, says Pochettino after Chelsea defeat. You see why Tega started that way. Now you know. Pedri and Torres snatch Barca win over Cadiz in new home as Fernandes demands apology for Man United penalty call at Spurs. Then Osimhen gives Napoli winning start at Inter's Martinez sink Monza. And then Lionel Messi leads MLS side Inter Miami to League Cup win against Nashville SC. That will be a final stop.
All right. So in the battle of the Asu. Lionel Messi won his own. Now somebody was like, oh, so Lionel Messi won a trophy. Yes. It's a League Cup. Why didn't we talk about it when Cristiano Ronaldo won Arab Cup?
And he won a golden boot too.
He won a friendly Arab Cup that FIFA doesn't even recognize. That doesn't count. He might as well have been playing Ludo with his children in his house. Okay, Tega, it's not time for banter. But let's start from the story. Nigeria at the World Athletics Championship.
All right, that tells us here that Nigeria's long jumper Ese Brume recorded a season's best of 6.84 meter, but it was not enough to get her to the podium as she finished fourth in the women's long jump of the ongoing World Athletics Championships in Budapest, Hungary. That's according to the story.
All right. So not a good day. And I particularly was a little jaded by what happened, because I've seen Ese Brume jump. She always, again, the first jump is warm up to just see how things go. But that second jump is usually what she uses to launch, because then there's still energy, then there's still strength. So it's always easier. But her second jump, it was better than first one, but it wasn't so great. And it was not better by much. So she jumped 6.84 meters. And I'm just thinking, it's not, it's the way she launched. Yeah, for the board, she left a good space, and that's always all right. But it was the way she launched, a little hesitant, a little conservative. Let me not say hesitant, a little conservative. So I thought, okay, her next jump, she's definitely going to try and hit a 7. And so, you aim for 7 and hit 6.91. So you're still somewhere in the medal position. But she didn't do that. After that 6.84, that I think that was her best jump. But she was in third position, just hanging out in that third position when Vovoleta went on to win, to jump 7, gold spot. Woodwall came on to second spot. I really love Woodwall. Her husband is a Paralympian, so they always give me vibes whenever I see them on the side. But she was in silver. And then I was just like, this 6.84 meter, it's not a safe place to be. So this is your last jump. Jump with all your might. My sister jumped, and it wasn't any better. Only for her to finish her jumps, and then somebody now came and jumped 6.88 and just pushed her out of the bronze medal position. Yeah, so she finished fourth. So it was heartbreaking. Prior to that, even the qualifier the day before, there's a Ruth Usoro lady. She jumps in the NCAA for
Romania, for Romania.
No, Ruth Usoro for Nigeria.
Okay.
But she didn't even make it to the final, because I really have hopes for her, because I follow her through collegiate sports, so she always improves season after season. Sometimes she gets a lot more great results than usual. So I thought, okay, this particular time at the World Championships, after I'm trying out at the Commonwealth Games, should be a little better. But she didn't even make the cut. She was close, but she didn't make the cut. So not very good times at the World Championships, especially for long jump. I thought at least we'd get a medal from long jump, because Ese Brume had been consistent. She's won the 2 World Championship medals prior to Tobi Amuso coming out to help Nigeria. So not very good news on that end. But all in all, I hope for a better performance during the Paralympics. During the Olympics next year. It was heartbreaking, but let's see how she pans out for the rest of the year.
That looks like a good time to drift on to Cincinnati this morning, as we report that Djokovic survives toughest match to beat Alcaraz in Cincy. Novak Djokovic needed just 5 match points and nearly 4 hours to pull off a gritty victory over Carlos Alcaraz and claim a 3rd ATP Cincinnati Open title on Sunday.
Yeah, really tough one for Carlos Alcaraz. He was crying after the match. I was like, why are you crying when you should have won this thing? So Carlos Alcaraz, he's down in the first set, comes back in the first set, defeats Djokovic and takes the first set 7-5. So trust my Djokovic, he will take a bathroom break, all 5 minutes of the bathroom break, and then 1 more we need to walk out, because he isn't that time to do whatever it is he does. But once he takes that bathroom break, get ready for anything. So he takes his bathroom break, he comes back out. Carlos Alcaraz was like, I see you have gone to meditate, I'm going to beat the meditation out of you, and then proceeds to break him. Now Carlos Alcaraz was leading 3-1 when Djokovic started to do his drama. And I say this all the time, and it's not illegal, it's not immoral, but it's cunning and deceitful, and it's unsportsmanlike. And I will say it every day of the week and twice on Sunday and anywhere, including the United Nations. Djokovic should be called out for this nonsense he does. So every time he's losing or he's struggling, he'll start to, you know, say that he's struggling with an injury. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're playing a sport for a particular number of hours, at some point you begin to feel a physical nego. Everybody has it. Even Carlos Alcaraz was having his own. So think about it. If you are running, if you run every morning, by the time you run 15 minutes, your back will be saying, I'm tired, but you push through, and then before you know it, the back is not hurting anymore. You've completed however miles you wanted to do. So it happens. But Novak Djokovic exaggerates his own. He now started claiming that he was struggling with the heat. He called out doctor, called out physio. I'm like, what is doing you? Because you either call out the doctor or the physio, but this one you're calling out both. Took some drugs, stretched a little, and those antics, every time he does it, it distracts the opponent on the other side. But I've watched Djokovic for years, and I say this thing: the minute he starts pulling all those ailment antics, that's when you kick him in the teeth, because that's the time he's most dangerous. So now you're distracted, and he's gotten into your head, and then he'll come back into the game. And that's exactly what he did to Carlos Alcaraz. Because Carlos Alcaraz is now lulled into, oh, this guy is ailing. He's distracted by all the antics and all the stretching that is going on the other side. Djokovic comes back into the game, and they go all the way to a tiebreak, and Djokovic wins that. And I'm just like, and from that moment, I just knew that Alcaraz was going to lose it. Not because Djokovic was in a better physical shape than him, but because Djokovic had entered his mind. And that's what he does. Once he messes up with your psyche, he's going to win. So Carlos Alcaraz, yes, was able to fight in the third set. Broke back. Djokovic was 7 out of the set. He broke Djokovic back, took it all the way to a tiebreaker. But Djokovic had already messed with his mind. So Djokovic won. Congratulations to him. 39th, 1000 Masters. Great win because he had to fight. But for Carlos Alcaraz, he was naive. And I would say this to his coach: you need to pull his ear. If Djokovic is on the floor, writhing in pain, win the set. After you win the set, then you can ask, so how are you doing now? Just make sure you beat him well. Yeah, people say, and the commentators were even adding to it. They're like, oh, Djokovic is running on fumes. No, he wasn't running on fumes. He was just doing his usual antics. Yeah. And all of you fell for it. And we see it time and time again when he does this thing. And people fall time and time again. When will you learn? Anyway, but on the women's side, congratulations to Coco Gauff. She's only 19, but she's won her 1000 Masters, and this has been a great year for her. Her highest win was a 500 WTA title just a couple of weeks back. Now she's won the Masters just in time for the US Open. So could she win the US Open? But it's amazing to see the way she's fighting. Her father used to coach her, but now she has a new coach, Pereriba. And I think he's been great for her. He's just put the finishing touches to her game, and so she's in peak, I would say, in peak fighter or competition skill just before the US Open. So congratulations to her on winning the women's, and congratulations to Djokovic on winning the men's.
For me, it was when she kicked out Iga that I realized that there's no stopping Coco at this time.
I think, yeah, kicking out Iga was a big, because it was like emancipation. You face someone that's beating you several times. You've never taken one set of person. But yeah, that was the emancipation she needed.
If you just joined in, it's still the Locker Room on Smooth 98.1 FM. We'll take your messages after this time.
Yes, so it's not a friendly, it's a league cup. Look at these people.
Okay, responding to
it's league cup. It's like FA Cup.
Okay.
It's their FA Cup. No, their Carabao Cup. Yeah.
Yeah, but at least it's in the truth. It will be in their shelf now that they want something now.
No. Something is not something. Emirates Cup is not trophy.
Let them at least rejoice now.
People can cry. Oh, why did you celebrate Cristiano Ronaldo's Arab Cup? My friend, will you fly out of here with your saucer? I like trouble.
Yeah. Oh, he lost. Okay, no, not yet.
Oh, Ahmed Ali said they're anti-Djokovic. No, he lacks sportsmanship, and then he wonders why with too much antics. When he's hiding that thing, I was like, Carlos Alcaraz, do not fall for it. Do not fall for. I've seen it one time too many. The time that was really upsetting me was when he did it to Federer. Not the first time, the second time he did it to Federer. I was like, Federer, the last time he did this thing, he won you. Why are you concerned? Beat him and finish.
Then later.
Then ask how he's doing. Don't. And he does it. You know, you see him like. But you notice in that moment that he's in on it, you will not win a point off him. He will not give you any free points.
Yeah.
But he will do that, and then the commentators will be like, "Oh, he's really on fumes. I'm not sure he can retire. This guy has retired only 3 times since 2009. He survived the civil war. He's going to fight. Come on, let's stop deceiving ourselves." What are you saying?
I get it.
Novak Djokovic is the most, I will say this anyway, is the most conditioned athlete in the world of athlete, in amongst any athletes, whether it's football, tennis, basketball. He's the most conditioned athlete. That's, if you see how he trains, what he eats, how he lives he's the most conditioned athlete. He cannot ail.
And it looks like a very good way to go into the US Open because of what, Alcaraz had already taken one on him at Wimbledon. So it takes some of that steam. That's pressure.
Alcaraz had this. Alcaraz cried though. Because he had it on his racket. You're now doing, whoa, beat him. beat him. If they don't carry him in
We're back. So we'll go to messages.
Okay, let's go to messages.
We're smooth. 98.1 FM is still the locker room, and Princess Tega Onojiafe is here with me. Tega.
All right, so let's take some of your messages, and I will go to YouTube because Hamed Ali doesn't understand what is this. He just keeps saying bias. You need to watch Djokovic, and I've watched him for years, so I know. And he says here you are anti-Djokovic. What kind of analysis? What kind of
analysis is Djokovic? And antics. You want to say?
Antics with Djokovic playing with a professional mind. It's simple. It happens all the time. And even the commentators eventually alluded to it. But they kept saying he was running on fumes. Look, when somebody is ailing on the other side, you tend to be a little distracted because even if you don't care about the person, you are a human being. So you will be okay.
No, it even slows your momentum.
That's what he's trying to do. It's just slowing you're just there. It's just like, is he okay? Is everything all right? Should I play? Should I stop? So even if you want to keep playing, your focus has shifted a little bit, and that's all he needs. He just needs that moment of focus shift.
No, but I've seen previous games, especially with the women's games, where when the opponent is taking treatment, you just keep trying yourself.
Why didn't you go for that? No, you can keep trying yourself, kicking yourself, but what that's done is he has broken your momentum. Okay. Remember the final between Leila Fernandez and Raducanu. Remember when Leila Fernandez was that's why Leila Fernandez was crying and she was telling the umpire that this is rubbish that Raducanu was doing, because what it was is Leila Fernandez is coming back into the match. Raducanu gets an injury that she can play with.
Yes.
Now the rules allow her to take treatment, but she can still play with it if she doesn't need it. But she decided in that moment to take a break. What that does is it breaks her momentum. So yes, Leila Fernandez was still swinging her arms, but her focus had shifted. And then Raducanu comes in and wins the match from there. It's human nature. It's a mind game. And he knows how. Look, tennis is a mind game, much more than it is a physical game. That's why you hear, Rafa Nadal won this tournament, but he had a knee ligament issue. The knee was paining him, but in that moment, he was more about winning point after point. So it is more a mental game. And that's why I tell people that tennis is the toughest game ever. Football, you have your teammates to talk to. Same thing with basketball. But tennis, men's single tennis, women's single tennis, is you and your mind. So
some more messages from
WhatsApp. Mohammed now comes to say, this is
okay, that's it for you, Mohammed.
This is why Djokovic will not be celebrated even with all his success in tennis. This time of slippery tactics that he plays. And that's one he said. Then he says, Tega, I beg you, does FIFA recognize the unglorified preseason friendly in the US? So let me explain to you, Mohammed. That preseason friendly in US is like Carabao Cup in England. So yes, recognize.
No, it goes on to it tackles you more. It says, we know you are a Messi fan.
But you don't have to show bias against. No, seriously, it's not. Ronaldo's whatever is not FIFA recognized. I'd mention if it is.
Okay.
I recognize my biases. People know me now. I don't know how to hide. All right.
That's no more saying. Agumbi Ade
It
says,
says Tega the Tigress, Tega the Tigress. Congratulations to Spain. England gave their all. Spending that imagine spending that ridiculous amount of money and still can't get a winning game. It's going to be a long season for Ballon the transfer winners. Okay, on that note, let's just quickly go to the next story.
Next story here. Carmona hails unstoppable Spain after World Cup triumph. Spain's goal-scoring hero Olga Carmona hailed their unstoppable side as they beat England 1-0 to win the Women's World Cup for the first time on Sunday in Sydney.
All right, so that was a huge one. Now, so Spain comes into this match, and yes, for some of us, we believed a little bit in Spain. I just thought that Sarina Wigman was going to pull out, because she's one of the best coaches you have out there. She was going to pull off some trick for England. But my biggest shock, she didn't start Lauren James. I was like, okay, maybe because Lauren James had missed a couple of games, you didn't want to tweak, what it was. And Spain came into the match, and Spain, I like the way Spain approached the match. They had no reputation to defend.
Oh my God.
So they went all out. That's it. That's it was that simple.
When they have no reputation, just go all
Yeah,
out.
they were the underdogs. So you know how they say it, he that is down needs fear no fall.
Yeah.
They don't expect you to win. So you can just go all out and do what you want to do. And then with the English side that is coming home, everything home, all everywhere was, even the commentators at some point, I was like, you guys should balance it out. You sound a little more biased. Yes, I understand that England are favorites to win this, but Spain has played a good tournament. So based on that, you should accommodate some of their achievements. So match goes on, and both teams gave as good as they got. Difference between England and Spain was that the ball ended up in the back of the net for Spain. Carmona took that shot was a good moment, because I think when she got the ball, they were expecting her to cross that ball to the other end. And she looks up and sees that there is actually an angle she can take the shot from, and she puts it in the back of the net. So a brilliant goal by Carmona. Hermoso, they get a penalty. Hermoso steps up to take it. Now, I always say this thing. As great as Hermoso is and as solid as Hermoso is, she's not your first choice to take the penalty. What happened to Caldente? Why didn't she take the penalty? What happened to Bonmati? Why did she take the penalty? But Hermoso steps up to take it. And at some point, she was sure that she should take it. But when she ran up to the ball, she looked a little wonky. And I was like, she's going to miss this. And the goalkeeper caught it. The penalty was poor, but good kudos to Mary Epps for even guessing the right place. But all in all, Spain put their best foot forward. England did. They gave their best, but Spain just had that extra magic moment and they won it. So congratulations to them. But after the game, we heard that Carmona had lost her father. And here's what was tricky. They had interviewed her and she was like, oh, I scored this goal and this victory. I dedicate it to my best friend who lost her mom. She didn't know at that time that her father was dead. Oh, no. It was later that they told her that her father. I dedicated it to my best friend who lost her mom, only for them to tell her later that your daddy too has died. So that was a real sad moment for them. But it was a great tournament for Spain. Player of the tournament, Aitana Bonmati. That's the person I chose. She was my player of the tournament. Goalkeeper of the tournament, of course, Mary Epps of England. Young player of the tournament, of course, it was Salma Parello of Spain. So great tournament all around for Spain, and great tournament for England too. Unfortunately, it's not coming home. Perhaps it has given up its home.
But honestly, for me, that match itself was a temperamental game at some point. And some persons were saying the referee robbed the English because of the officiating.
The referee robbed the English when? Mention a moment.
And so that's what they've been coming up.
No. Take your time. If you're watching English, you need to explain to me. Take your time and give me the moment that they were robbed.
And at some point they said, why didn't the president of the FA, Prince, the Prince of Wales, even fly over?
That doesn't concern us. That's them and that's their family matter. But on the field of play, the calls were even. Yes, there's some calls I felt that should have gone England's way, but there were also calls I felt should have gone Spain's way. Yeah. The referee was even. So if they have any moment, please take your time and tell me. I'm waiting to hear it.
Right. The takeaway from me was what you said last week. Do the basic things.
Just do the basic things.
So that's one thing. So I'm just hoping someday you would go take up your coaching license, even if it's a great
lie. They'll always give me red card.
Okay. Now the next one comes on the next story here. Believe in the process, says Pochettino after Chelsea defeat. Mauricio Pochettino called on Chelsea fans to believe in the process after a side slump, 3-1 a defeat away to West Ham United.
All right. So when you look at it, I would say this: Chelsea played well, but they still have the same problems that they had last season, which is they don't score enough of their goals. They created a lot of chances. And a lot of people say, "Oh, this Jackson is a good striker." I would say Jackson is a good distraction because he has the pace and he was making good runs into the box, but if your finishing is not good, what's the purpose of running into a good position? And so ultimately, the problems they had last season, the problems that they have this season. But with Mauricio Pochettino, I can see an eagerness or a willingness to do more. And so maybe I would agree with him that Chelsea fans should believe in the process, and maybe they'll soon start getting the goals that they need, but they weren't finishing off their chances. And yes, you can complain that ultimately at the end of the day, they did concede goals, um, and that was part of the problem. But yes, but they weren't scoring enough goals. You have to think about it. How many chances did you create? How many opportunities did you take? And they weren't clinical on that end. It made it harder on this other end. But kudos to West Ham, one man down, and they still went for it. And disturbed the Chelsea defense a little bit. So I would say this: I know that you build your attack from your defense, but I think that if Chelsea would have scored a few of their chances, West Ham will be too occupied with defending, and will not have enough time to get the two goals that they did. It was a tough one. Chelsea needs to sort out their some of their problems. I would say this. Sanchez is a new goalkeeper. The backline is pretty much new, so they're still getting to understand themselves. But going forward, how do you create so much and do so little with it? All right, so Chelsea fans, we're going to take your messages now. What is your solution to your team's problem? Because you've seen your team right now, you've seen all the players that they have. What is the solution to their problem?
That takes us to Pedri and Torres snatchback a win over Cadiz in a new home.
All right, so huge one for Barcelona. Also, they're having the Chelsea problem. They've struggled to score. Their first match against Getafe, the same thing. This match against Cadiz, and especially against Cadiz, because they always struggle against this team. They struggled to score. They created chances, and Lewandowski is not the same Lewandowski you saw in Bayern Munich, despite the fact they're still feeding him. But eventually, towards the end of the game, I think, of course, with tired legs and tired minds, they're able to make some good runs into defense. Pedri with a goal that, for the first time, I saw the urgency in him in the 18-yard box to put the ball in the back of the net, and then a small blip in defense, and Ferran Torres was in behind the defense, and he scores a second goal. So yes, they scored 2 goals yesterday, and they'll be happy to get those 2 goals. But the fact that they have to labor to score from the chances that they create is something Xavi has to work on.
Fernandez demands apology for Man United penalty call at Spurs.
You remember last week I said this season give it and this season take it away.
Yes.
So last week there should have been a penalty call against Manchester United. It wasn't made. This week there should have been a penalty call for Manchester United. Clear penalty every day of the week. Unfortunately, that wasn't given. But even then, I still think that also on the other end, Martinez also gave away a penalty. So in the game, they kind of balanced it out, but that wasn't Manchester United's sole problem. What it is that Manchester United are a bit too static, too rigid. They need to be fluid in their game, and that will come down to what Eric Ten Hag can do. He mustn't always buy players. The players he has, I think, is enough. Swap positions, swap style. I think that's, for me, that's the biggest thing. Mason Mount shouldn't be starting, if you ask me, because he hasn't yet delivered. And so I think it's what Eric Ten Hag can do with the players he has. Stop thinking about who he should have bought or who he should buy, and start thinking of, with the players we have now, what can we do? All right, on that note, we've run out of time, so let's just take all the messages that are coming in. Let's start with Nwaji. Nwaji says,
No Women's World Cup final coverage.
where were you, Waji, when we talked about Spain and England?
Tega, he could as well be playing Ludo with his children in his house. These basbos this morning, they will come for you. I want goat. Laugh out loud.
They'll be all right. All right. This is Mecca from Amuadofin, he says.
I had the most quiet, peaceful weekend ever. First English female team with all their bragging lost to Spain at their World Cup final. Then to capital, Chelsea collected woto. If you want to enjoy football, just go to any football viewing center when Chelsea is losing.
Yes, so
Zizi Classic says, my condolences to Olga Carmona on the loss of her dad yesterday. Meanwhile, congratulations to Spain for the silencing of England and Chelsea fans last night. Meanwhile, the problem of Chelsea is that the fans are more serious than the players themselves.
This is a classic. So read one says.
Ridwan says, felicitations to my girls for the win against England. It was a good performance. I wish Salma Parayulo scored, though. Olga Carmona is good. She hits the ball so well. The Spanish girls were clearly superior to the English counterpart. Ballon d'Or incoming for my girl, Aitana
Bonmati. I agree. She should win it this year. Sly says Liverpool 1 man down, they still won 3-1. Chelsea 1 man up, they lost 3-1. Endo did well for us, but Caicedo cost us a penalty.
Yeah.
And this one we'll round up with Tayo. Tayo says Fernandez try again later for your demand. And on that note, we wrap up the locker room. Thank you for sending your messages on YouTube and for watching us on YouTube. Thank you for sending your messages on WhatsApp. We'll meet again on Wednesday. Arsenal plays today against Crystal Palace. So Arsenal fans, if you gave banter today, hopefully your team wins and you won't collect. But if your team should draw or lose, just get ready to collect on Wednesday. On that note, Omas.
Well, thank you, Tega, for your time this morning inside the locker room. My name is Omatseye Atsenuwa. Good morning.